What's up there, Workforce? Chris here with Work to Game, and I wanted to talk about tank and healer anxiety. This is something that comes up a lot when people say things like, I don't feel like tanking, I don't think I can tank, I don't think I can handle it, I would not be good at it, and the same with healing. DPS has pressure on it, especially in, end game content where we talk about there being DPS checks in certain fights, but there seems to be this fear to try tanking, to try healing, for fear that they won't be good at it. It's a 100% natural fear, just like being fearful of anything else. It's why human beings don't always feel so eager to try new things. We all say, oh, I love new things, I like adventures, but 99% of the people who are willing to say those things aloud don't end up doing them. We stay home on most weekends, we hang out with the same friends, we sit in the same chair in a college classroom that doesn't require that you sit in the same chair. We are creatures of habit just by our very nature, and so it's not a big deal, but I just wanted to kind of talk about how you can overcome it, how to be willing to get into tanking and healing if it's something you say you want to do and you feel like you want to do, but you can never quite bring yourself to do it. So the first thing is you have to make it approachable. You have to drop it down to bite-sized chunks. You don't say, one day I want to have all level 70 classes, so I'm going to start that right now and I'm not going to sleep till it's done. You don't do the same thing here. You're not going to be a master tank. You're not going to be a master healer. So if you're worried that you're not going to be good at it, you're not. That's okay. So pick content that increases the likelihood that you feel comfortable in as short a span as possible, and you can see progress in as short a span as possible. Guild hests are fantastic for this. Using your squadron system to run where there's only NPCs with you, fantastic for this. Overgearing the crap out of your class and running really low level content is fantastic for this. And that last one is the way I would do it. If you haven't leveled the class yet, if you want to be good in dungeon content, don't level it through Palace of the Dead and all of those things. Level it through dungeon content, because it inherently gates you. Run Guild Hest till you're level 17 or whatever, and then run your Hall of the Novice. I think that unlocks it, I believe, 15, and then start running dungeons, and just run dungeons the whole way up, because you will have all this dungeon experience. And because you're low level, when you do your random dungeon roulette of the day, you're going to get the same 2 dungeons. For a while, you're going to be getting the same 2 dungeons over and over, and then it's going to add 1, and then you just got to worry about that one, and then it's going to add 1 more, and then you just got to worry about that one. And so I would, and until you can do that, manually pick a dungeon in that you're super comfortable with. Run Sastasha 20 times, 30 times, 100 times. That way you know that dungeon better than anybody in your group. You know everything that's going on, and the only thing that's changing is the group you're running with. And so you learn to adjust to them, and you learn what are your capabilities. That group wiped, my previous group didn't, so something changed. Was it me? Was it the group I was with? And you become very comfortable with that. Once you're comfortable with Sastasha, add a dungeon, add a dungeon, add a dungeon. And then if you're really worried about it, skip the dungeons that are notoriously really hard until you're ready to go back for them. So just build on that skill set. And that way, you're being synced down to low levels. You don't have that many abilities. The content is relatively geared towards knowing you don't have that many abilities. You probably don't have that many skills. And it's geared to be really forgiving. There are whole boss fights where mechanics can be skipped early on in the game. That's wonderful for learning how to play your class. And so, in addition to all the normal tips, like telling the group, hey, I'm new, and that way everybody's generally pretty friendly. Let them know in the instance, hey, I'm new at this. I'm really excited to run this with you guys. And start that friendly rapport in the chat. That way, if you do wipe the group, not a big deal. We're all fine. Don't make a habit of it. Let's just give it another shot. And so you can ask for things like, hey, this is my first time tanking this fight. Is there anything I need to know as a tank? I've always been a DPS in the past. And so you can say things like that, and they'll go, oh, yeah, just be sure that you grab the ads in this phase, or just be sure that you still turn for the boss mechanic because, it's going to hurt you. Or watch out for the tank buster. It's a line AoE in front of you, and you really don't want to stand in it. And they can tell you these different mechanics, and just start that way. Start little. The same as a healer. These healer classes do not have that many heals when they first start out. And that's awesome. You know that you're being optimal because you don't have that many choices. And then as you add more abilities, you say, wow, when I use this ability, I really run out of mana a lot faster, but it heals a lot harder. Maybe I could use this other ability when they're only a little bit hurt. And you can learn these basic techniques that are going to help you across all games. Once you can tank in this game and you can heal in this game, if you switch to WoW, ESO, Guild Wars, any future thing, Lost Ark comes to America officially, you want to go play it, anytime there is typical class roles, knowing how to heal and how to tank is always going to have at least some portion, if not large portions of that skill set, 100% transfer. When you play games that are almost identical in their core mechanics and only different in the surface level things, the user UI, the content design, like WoW and 14, a lot of these concepts are so identical that you just need a translation. Hate, enmity, threat, they all mean the same thing. Heal per second in both games. You know, you talk about heal over time in both games. You talk about shields in both games. You talk about, you know, big heals, little heals, instant heals, long casts. These are all in both games. Same with tanking. You have different tank defensive moves. Some are on long cooldowns, some are on short cooldowns. You have a DPS rotation. You have a threat generating rotation. You have different abilities to go grab things over here. You usually have at least one or more abilities that help shoot you to the top of the threat. Something like a shout of some kind that instantly shoots you to the top of something versus something that tosses AoE threat. These are all really common concepts in tanking and healing that you're going to see time after time because they are good game design, and they are how we've learned to design these games because they work. And so learning this here, there's no better time. This game level syncs so much friendlier than most. You're immediately dropped down to the lowest level skills, and so is everybody with you. So you don't have to worry about some level 900 guy coming in here with his crazy eye level savage extreme stuff and just melting things, because he's going to get dropped to the same level 17 or 21 or whatever skill set that you have, and he's only going to be able to put out the damage that allows. And so that is really ideal for knowing that you're not going to have some savage raider who literally just wants to come in and knock this out for the fastest tomes, come in and just steamroll you and be terribly mad because you're not being optimal. They're going to be stuck at the pace of damage they can deal, and your class is literally designed and geared to guarantee that you can keep up with that threat, especially if you keep up on your gear. If you're really worried about your abilities, just make sure that as much as possible, you're staying in pretty decent gear. You're staying in gear that kind of has like the max level to equip that you are, and that has kind of as high eye level as possible. And as you get into gear with materia slots, go ahead and slot things. Because honestly, if you have your crafters leveled up at all, like retrieving materia, I believe that's what's causing that. I believe it's alchemist. I'm not totally sure. Something allows me to retrieve my materia at least up to level 3 at like 100% chance. And so you can use the same level 3 materia for like the whole way you're leveling this class until that starts to be just too low to matter. And so just twink it out with your main. You've got your DPS, so you got plenty of money making, and you're always going to be able to go clear the current MSQ with stuff you're comfortable with, and then just work on this on the side when you're willing. Run that leveling roulette, run manual dungeons, run the guild hests really regularly until you're super comfortable with the basics, and just build out from there just like you would anything else. You don't learn calculus on your first day of school. You learn addition. You learn subtraction. This game has that built in. Do your Hall of the Novice, run the basic stuff, and just learn the core mechanics, and then you can build on from there. There's a whole bunch of people that put out guides, and so you can find the guide that's at the level you're at, and then you can just keep getting more and more advanced. Next thing you know, you'll be tanking basic trials, you'll be willing to try out an extreme, and it'll be really, really exciting. My name's Chris with Work to Game. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Definitely go try tanking and healing. If you've been afraid, there is no better time to try than now. And I'll see you next time.
Have you ever wondered what's on the other side of the camera from a YouTuber? Because sometimes it's really bad. Like right now, my house is under renovation. And so just to show you, there's like a desk with stuff that doesn't have a home. And then there's other stuff that doesn't have a home. And then there's a few things that do have a home. And some days, this is 100% clean around me. And other days, there is literally a mess as close as right here, just out of frame.